Hey guys, it's Mythology's Bot here. I have my new build for Post-Epoch-Karl up. I'm going to go in the Skitarii real quick. I just want to give you guys a little waves and thumbs up. I really appreciate everything you guys are doing, the likes, subscribes, the views, everything. But let's get into Skitarii and check this out real quick. That way we can kind of take a look. So let's go in Meat Grinder, Damnation level. That's usually where we like to sit anyways. Okay, so let's go over the weapons real quick. Weapons. Let's go with the weapons first. So right now, let's go over the weapons. I'll kind of go over what I like about these ones and what I think is really good about them. So for this one, this is unusual because usually I have mobility as the lowest stat. I don't really care about crowd control. I don't care about staggering them. I really care about that extra dodge. That dodge is very important. And then with that, obviously the crowd control is the lowest stat, but we have damage, mobility, arc efficiency, and penetration all up at the highest ones. Then we have the spec'd out for unyielding, melee critical hit chance, which is unusual, but there are some very good reasons why you want to do this because we have a lot of things that feed into melee critical chance, and that's going to feed into a lot of our other abilities. And then with that, confident strike, so toughness on chain hit. And then we're going to have Thunderous as well on that. So 4 stacks of Brindles on debuff, lasts for 5 seconds, maximum 15 stacks. So this thing's also not only critting a bunch, giving you toughness, and it's putting debuffs on people too. Perfect. And then paired with that, we have a Phosphor Blast Pistol. So we're going to have the lowest stat on that one actually is mobility. Because all the ammo, critical bonus, penetration, and damage, we want that to all be pretty high. And then the perks for that, we're going to have Carapace Armor for the damage because that's kind of one of the primary targets. And then melee or reload speed, right? And then the Cruciate Relay, so that's essentially roulette. Sorry, my bad, guys. That's going to be critical chance essentially per spent round. So essentially less rounds you have, the more crit you're going to do, right? And then Hand Cannon as well, so you're going to get branding on those critical hits. So it's going to kind of feed into itself. And then that reload speed is really nice because that's going to let you reload faster and you can it'll help you get more crit, right? It's kind of feeds into itself. It's a weapon that's kind of self-contained. But let's go over the curios real quick. I'm going to go over all 3 of them real quick. So all 3 are maxed out at toughness and they all have kind of the same things. We also have all 3 have combat ability restorations. And then we have stamina regeneration in all 3 because that's very important. Stamina for these guys is a very spendable resource and it's very, very useful. And then we have revive speed, toughness on this one, and then another toughness here. So let's go in the talent tree real quick and we'll kind of check this out. Now you can kind of see it's spread out just a little bit, but not too bad. But let's come over here to the right a little bit. So we'll do the ammunition restoration pod right here. This one I think is pretty much critical for every Skitarii. Because you have an ability to replenish ammo, and that's very useful. Very, very useful. And then with that, we have reload speed right here. So after not shooting for 5 seconds, you get each second reloads 7.5 your clip for your ammo reserve. So it essentially reloads itself. Perfect. And then for that, we have ammo reserve right here. Then we're going to go over to Elite Kills Restore 15% toughness over 3 seconds. And then we're going to shift over to this left side real quick, just to kind of get the Cord Claw over here as well. So what we have is critical hits restores 7.5 toughness and grant 15% damage resistance reduction. That's the reason why we have the crit on the mace, right? We're going to want that crit for that reason. Original current buffer, gain 10% damage toughness reduction, increase 2.5 per charge, right? Great. Last stand relay, so critical chance, increase 10% and we'll add 0 charges. Perfect. And then spending stamina, that's the reason why we have a lot of that stamina regain is because we're spending stamina to get damage. Perfect. But it's not like we're spending it to get damage. We are spending it in the process of moving around, right? We also have a Volcanic Restoration, which restores 20% toughness to you and allies and coherency on ability use. Perfect. Then we have Cord Claw here. So Cord Claw, I love this ability. Devs, thank you so much for this. This strike out, the get out and grab you is a ton of fun. I love this, right? And then with that, we have Satiated Steel. So Cord Claw kills, if I can get that down, restore 25% capacity over 5 seconds. So it helps when it kills things, it restores itself, which is great. Gives you more and more energy. You're taking energy from people, right? And then you're having probing strikes. So this just adds a dot to the end of it. That's really useful for a lot of different reasons, mainly because that just keeps ticking away on their health, right? And then we're going to have flux capacitor build up. So critical hits generate 5% cast capacity over 4 seconds. Hey, guess what? That mace that has critical is now also generating more capacity. Perfect. Adaptive combat recalibration. So 30% melee cleave when above 50% toughness and 30% melee impact when below. Even better. Ablative motion routines. This is a really good one too. I would very much suggest getting this. Damage resistance while sprinting or sliding. Perfect. Full rending creed. Something that gives you cleave and rending in coherency. That's crazy good. Crazy good. So let me get these ones and then we'll move over. We're going to go over to the right here and then we'll get the bottom ones at the very end. So we got uncapped arrestor here. So melee attacks are at 2% melee attack speed for 5 seconds, stacking 5 times. Progressive plating matrix grants 2/5 toughness damage reduction for 5 seconds, stack 6 times, max 1 per stack. Great. Sustained assault doctrine, 3% successful damage on melee attack for 8 seconds, stacks 5 times. Perfect. Integrated refracting emitter. Surround yourself with a shield that absorbs all incoming damage for range of damage for 8 seconds. Upon activation, again, when it ends, causes electrical explosion around you, applying electrocution. That ending part, okay, great. It applies electrocution, but it does push people away, which is very useful. And then with that, we have the overcharge refraction emitter. So increase the field duration to 12 seconds. So it goes from 8 to 12 seconds. And then we go down here and do kinetic repulsion. That's just amazing. Limit all health damage taken while integrated refraction emitter is active to 50. Perfect. That just caps a lot of damage you would take. That can stop a whole bunch of different things, like a boss strike, Mauler's mace, crusher, like any of that kind of stuff. It can stop that from getting one-shotted. But let's come back over here to the left since we went over here to the right already. We're going to have slaughter protocols, toughness replenishment on melee key, increased to 50% when at 0 charges. So when you're at 0 charges, you're going to replenish more. Perfect. Adaptive combat engram on toughness break, gain 30% damage damage resistance for 5 seconds. That just helps every once in a while when you have these really bad situations. Got to get you out. It's a panic button. Hydraulic impact, so interruptible while charging melee attacks, 15% melee attack damage, heavy melee attack damage. So that's like all your big ass swings that you're going to be using. That's perfect. Perfect. And let's go down into Flensing Protocol. So when we have 6 stacks of Flensing Protocol, each stack gains 2.5% damage and 2.5 toughness damage reduction. Wow, trying to get that out. Taking damage rooms 1 stack can only occur 1 second. Elite and specialist kills restore 2 stacks and restores 15% toughness. Perfect. And then let's go over the servo sinew charge. Each stack also grants critical hit chance and critical attack speed. You're just moving faster. Perfect. Enhanced capacitant protocols using an ability replenishes all stacks. Great. Great. That's awesome. Hone Detector increases your max stacks to 8. And then we're going to do higher purpose over here. So elite and special skill to report additional capacitant. So you're generating a ton of capacitant literally through crits, killing, and a whole bunch of other things. So essentially you're going to come over here, grab a bunch of the ammo talents, come over here, get the Flensing Claw goodness, like that, the get out and grab you, right? And then we kind of go over here, grab this full render, go over here, get this a little bit more defense, and then we go into these Flensing protocols. Perfect. Nice, even break, kind of goes over here to the right, to left, to the middle. Really easy, not too bad. So let's go over the attack profile, but let's go over the guns. I'm going to go over the ones that are easiest right off the bat. So guns pretty self-explanatory. It's a target revolver. Very easy. And the thing about this is you don't really have to... It's a pretty good shot. Like, it's a pretty good reticle shooting. So as you're spending around, you're getting more and more chance to actually get that rending up, right? And then that dot on the end, you can still... It burns forever. Wow. It's still looking at that. It also gives you a little bit like the reload speed that's crucial because you're going to have to need that every once in a while to reload your whole system. And that full, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that it's not single load. That's so nice. But I mean, the revolver can shoot down just about anything out there. And then that dot can easily finish him off at the end, which is the nice part about that, right? Very good part. It's just a fun weapon. It's a very good revolver. I like it a lot. And then let's go over the mace real quick, and then we'll go over the shield and the claw after that. So let's kind of go over the mace. Let me use up my core claw real quick just so we can see how fast that capacity comes back. Oh my god. That's so fun. I love that. So we're kind of seeing this thing builds up kinetic energy while you're wailing away on people, right? And then you can see the charges when you activate it up. So you can kind of see that charge barrier right there. And then when you activate this thing up, it's going to discharge it and really do some damage. Not to mention the block push does like a field emitter push. It means it pushes them away, right? And that costs a little bit of charge. So you can kind of see that right there. But when you stop that, it stops using the charge and it can keep charging up when you're actually on... you can actually see the charge right there, right? And you can see the charge actually on the weapon too a little bit. That's kind of cool. Yeah, but like as I'm saying right here, very good strike profile, especially that top down. Very good. That's a heavy uninterruptible, and that kind of steps to the side. But it's all strikes that are usually going to hit very well for the head. And then obviously a few vanguards, that block push, kind of a shove away. So it's really good at kind of hitting things in the head when you're blocking right that. And then just the basic attack roll. You can kind of see like one strike. It's very useful what it's doing right there, right? Oh my gosh. Very, very good. And then just that. And then adding this on top. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Very, very useful. You can see how much damage that does. Very good weapon. Love that stuff. So obviously, you're going to keep this weapon charged when you need to fight something a little better, and then block pushing allows you to get people away. Perfect. Let's go over the claw. You guys obviously saw me use that real quick. You saw how fast that came back when we were using the mace. Obviously, this is really nice because this is fun. And not only does it help you move a little bit, oh, so good. So when you hold down that F key, you have a chance of ripping out somebody's heart, face, or whatever. Yep. Let's get our ability. Let's see how fast this comes back. Yeah, you can see how... Yeah, look at that jump when you crit right there. That's crazy good. Really, really solid. We're just getting that back with our base ability. I could use a stim, but I'm not. Okay, so let's use the basic one. So this is the basic strike. It's 3 quick little pokes, right? 3 quick pokes. But not only does this help you kill, it can help you cut through a crowd of these guys, right? It can go through 3 of them. It does 3 separate attacks, getting each one for each attack. So it can help you go through a big old street of these things. And it will go through, like if you have a giant mob of them, it can help you cut through that group. It can help you cut through them even faster, right? Which is very useful. God, that's so satisfying. So satisfying. Let me get that back. We can just do that one more time. Let's see what it actually does on a crusher when you're going for like a critical. Look at the kidneys. Yeah, look at that. And it goes bleeding, so it almost 1 hit, and I wasn't even aiming for a crit location, right? I was aiming for a kidney. And that's fairly well armored over there. That's fairly well armored. So let's go over the shield real quick, the emitter. Now, I will say a few things about this. I do like the grenade. I do think some of the other abilities are very useful. I do think this is nice because it keeps you alive in situations you should be dead, right? And you're only prone to use it when you actually need it in situations you actually need it. So like that would be getting somebody up, tanking a boss, or a really bad situation. That's when we're going to use this field. This thing instantly turns you into a melee god. Well, not really, but like kind of. It buffs you up a lot better than you think it does, and it'll keep you alive in situations where you don't think you should be alive, because a lot of these guys are very fragile. Very fragile. And then obviously you just hit that shield. You can kind of see it keep going. Lasts for 12 seconds. Perfect. Love that. And then we're going to have, once that goes away, it's going to break. And then, hold on. Wait. Kind of shock everybody. It's going to stun everybody around you. Doesn't do a ton of damage, but that shock is nice because it can kind of, if it does break before or during your res speed, it's going to push people away a little bit, which is really nice. And you only use that in situations that you absolutely need to, right? I'm having a ton of fun with this build with Post-Epoch-Karl here. I'd like to say a thank you one more time for the likes, the views, subscribes, guys. I really appreciate you all out there. And we should be back on Sunday for more Darktide. And like I said, I'm going to be looking forward to playing this guy a little bit more. And I have some lines already made up for him. So we'll go from there. But you guys stay safe out there, travelers. Talk to you later. Bye.